All
Hell
right.
yeah.
All right. I'm going to admit all. There are 9 people.
Oh, good. That's better. Oh, good. Season. Oh, yay. And oh my
Yay.
gosh, I'm excited. Oh, yay. Can everybody hear me?
They're all muted, or they
Oh,
should
they're
be.
all muted.
Yeah. But
Yes. Thank
you
you
can
for
wave at
coming.
people.
My heart, thank you for coming.
I think everybody knows Aimee, but I'm George.
Hey,
I'm
George.
George Slade. I'm the host of Photobook Banter, and I'm coming to you from Minneapolis, Minnesota, where it's a lovely 38 degrees and sunny. Well, not sunny anymore because it's nighttime. And this is Photobook Banter, and we're thrilled to have Aimee McCrory coming to us from Houston, Texas, and many people on the line from Houston as well. I think we've got a good collection of people. Nice that everyone could come out. I hear it's busy in Houston, Aimee.
Yes, it's ugly in Houston right now. It's
Oh no.
it's really gloomy. We're just I mean it's really gloomy. But not in this part of my house. It's bright and sunny over here.
Well,
But
one of the great things that we're going to be discovering tonight as we talk about roller coaster scenes from a marriage is the nature of this stage set that you are sitting in, because you really made quite a bit of use of your home environment. And I know that there's a really the, perhaps the most compelling thing that we can say about roller coaster is that it's a COVID inspired, COVID driven project. In fact, maybe it wouldn't have even existed without quarantine.
correct. Are you asking? There is no question that I would not have captured Don's. I would not have had him participate in that, except that he was bored out of his mind. And he
Now,
really
just
wanted.
for those who don't know, Don is Amy's husband of how many years?
Don and I have been married 45 years,
45 years.
right?
Um, well, we'd have to ask him
Yeah.
to be
Oh,
on
I'm sure he'll
47.
come through here in his underwear anytime now.
He's
He
gotten he's
always
gotten used to
does.
being
In my
well
all
together
my
with her,
Zoom
right?
calls, he's always walking through and with his martini and his. So I'm used to it. I'm like tonight. I said, please don't come through here in your underwear. Just do me a favor.
Um, so
So
so if you've hung out with Don all of these years,
yes,
um, did you ever have a thought about photographing him prior to 2020 or to 2020?
oh, let me just turn this off. I'm gonna stop this right now. Somebody wants to sell me something.
Oh no.
It's always. So let me just silence this so I don't get that. So did I ever think about Don has been my muse forever. I mean, he's how I learned how to take portraits, is that
Hmm.
I started just photographing Don. And the interesting thing, not that the interesting thing is that it gave me a false sense of security because I did photograph Don so much that I got very comfortable with it. And as a consequence, now that I'm going out and photographing new people, I find that my comfort level is not quite the same in taking uh,
Hmm.
strangers, or not even strangers, but people that I don't really know that well. It's a different comfort level. So yes, I learned how to photograph from Don.
How did you cut your teeth, if you will, on in photography?
How do my teeth?
Cut your teeth. How did you? What was your
My
experience
teeth,
coming into
they're holding
into
up
photography?
okay.
They're holding up okay.
They're good. I went to the dentist recently. They're good, I promise.
Okay, good. But
So,
how did you find your way into photography?
this is I will tell you, my computer, I would go to the Apple store. This is like now probably 15 years ago. And there was a guy there that would teach me how to use the iPhone, and teach me photography on the iPhone. Well,
Mm-hmm.
then I realized he was also a computer guy. And so I started having him come to my house and help me on stuff. And he said, hey, listen, you really are good at this photography stuff. Why don't you, I'm going to give you my Nikon, and why don't you just play around with it? And with me, I took it, and I just literally, I was so drawn to the idea of photography that I found someone I actually took classes at the LaSalle School, at the Museum School of Photography, and then I went to the Houston Center of Photography, and then I hired my teacher to teach me privately, and I did that for 4 years, and then COVID came around, and I ended up hooking up with Chehalis, whom you know.
Mm-hmm.
So
I know Chehalis, yeah.
yes.
You might just introduce who she is.
Yes, well, she's my mentor, and most everybody knows from my knows me that knows that Chehalis is my mentor and has been very
Mm-hmm.
instrumental in my
Mm-hmm.
development as an artist. And
Well, she wrote a really beautiful introduction to the book also, in which
yes,
she addresses a lot of themes. One of the things she writes right at the beginning is a characterization of the project as a, how did she put it, a staged pseudo documentary.
well, that's what
And
it was. Yes.
yeah, I'm curious how you found your way into that staging. I mean, maybe we can look at some pictures and
Oh,
see.
absolutely. Let's do that. Let me share with you
Let's
my
jump in and share something here. Yeah.
let's do that. Then I can quit looking at myself, which is so. Let me let me just get into here, the screen. I think this is the right screen. Okay, so first of all, I'm gonna at least take you through. This is when Don and I were married. Um, and so I thought I'd start with this. This was
And who? Hang on a second, Aimee. There's a wonderful little figure in the background there. Is that your daughter?
that's my daughter Erica.
Okay.
I was married prior to Don. And she was in that picture, she's probably about, I don't know, she looks like she might be 4.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, I was lucky with Don because I mean, I had a child in tow.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so
There
that's,
was there was a funny story about your mother trying to persuade Don to marry you.
oh, yes, no question. Yes, gotta love my mother. Yes, Don ran out on me about 2 weeks before we were supposed to get married. It's a really, I told him because he's Christian and I'm Jewish, and he wasn't easy to I asked him to marry me,
Mm,
and I mean he was a confirmed bachelor, and he eventually I closed the deal several times before I finally got a confirmation that we were definitely getting married. So anyway, I think my mother was worried that he was gonna, you know, check out of the deal. So I called her, I think I went to her office and I told her that I was worried that Don really didn't want to marry me. And she said, well, listen, Aimee, you know what? Your father's not here. So I'm going to have to stand in for him and tell you and say, and just talk to him. And so she basically picked up a bottle of Ernest and Julio Gallo Hardy Burgundy bottle of wine because she thought that she really had it in her mind that uh, that Christian people liked to drink a lot, and so she bought him this huge bottle of wine, and the two of them together drank this whole bottle of wine. And she told Don that she said, listen, Don, you have had the milk free for, you got to buy this cow. And you have had the milk free long enough. And
how did you feel about that?
I, listen, I was happy for her to say whatever. I was just knowing that it was time. And so she closed that deal and I was listen, I will never forget that. So
All right.
that's how we got together.
So 45 years after this picture,
Yes.
there's the next one.
Okay, so this was the first and let me just, I don't want to belabor this. This was the first picture I made. I was inspired by uh Dwayne Michaels. I don't know, he really, at the time I was feeling really anxious and thinking about, I just turned 70 and I thought, oh my God, I'm gonna die. And we were just, COVID had just come around. And so I thought, well, I'll just try this. I have this idea. And I asked Don just to sit in to that picture. And I gave him that paper, which was giving you a time frame. It was George Floyd was guilty, and that was on the front page. And I just thought, you know what, that says so much. What, he could be guilty, I could be guilty, or, you know.
Mhm.
So anyway, I did that. And at that point, I realized that I could, within the four walls that I was living in, create any number of scenarios that
Mhm.
would illustrate what a marriage at this late stage would look like. And so I would really, I'd be out, I would be sketching out on a pad what I would like to do. And then most of my time was spent convincing Don to be in the photograph.
How did you convince that cow to be so perfectly positioned in this picture?
That was just a frigging, that was before AI, before anything. I got home and went, oh my God, there's a cow. It's a longhorn cow, I think, maybe not in the
And
picture.
this is a picture that is now in the collection of the Museum of Fine Arts in Houston. Is that right?
Yes, 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 they picked that one. And so, but so this was on a hot summer day, and Don just honestly, the good news was he trusted me through all these photographs.
Mhm.
Um, this these, you know, I don't know how much you want me to say, but I mean, for Don, first of all, Don is trying to fit into a pair of pants he bought 10, you know, many years ago, and he's trying to
Mhm.
struggle in. And I have horrible hammer toes, just horrible.
Mm. Mm.
And so for me, I'm always trying to get into a pair of shoes that don't hurt my hammer toes. So I thought, well, I'm going to try to just kind of figure this out. So I would have, our whole house was covered with gaff tape. I don't know if you know what gaff tape is, but in theater, you always have tape on the
Mhm.
floor to let you know where you need to where you need to be at a given point in time. And I did have the ability to, I did have the ability from theater. I knew we learn architecture in theater, and you learn where someone should be in relationship to your audience, in relationship to you.
Mhm.
And so, you know, um the each,
I love the fact that you're reading what I've sometimes referred to as the women's sports pages,
well, it's
the
the obit.
obituaries. You've
Oh,
got
I
the
love the
obits.
obits. They're the best part of, and this was a hard one, because the day that I finally got the light in the place that I wanted it, here came the gardener with a blower right behind. And I'm just like, God damn it, are you
So
for real? Are you
so
seriously?
there's something that strikes me when we think about a staged pseudo documentary. It makes me think, you know, how true, quote unquote, are your pictures? Because I know that some of this is invented and some of it is taken from daily life, right?
Right. Well, let me just jump to this. Well, one, I do read the obituaries. My grandmother said, if you're not in the obituaries, it's a good day. So that's how I feel. So this one is my fingers. The older I get, it's harder for me to zip these coats. And so they have these strong zippers, and Don is always helping me with the zipper. And this is a perfect, we're in some place called Lakey, Texas. And that's kind of where we were. And I just, oh, well, we were out there and I went, wait, Don, wow, this is something I can really do. So I said, wait here, let me get my tripod, let me put it out, and that's what came of it. And so,
Well, this is such a sweet picture because I really get the feeling that he's invested in this picture.
and he's a very sweet man. And that's the
Hmm.
thing that comes across. And not all, a lot of people have said he looks so stoic and blah, 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 but he's not. He's very kind and generous, and also he takes care of me. He
Hmm.
really does. He's the guy that takes care of me and allows me to be creative because, he deals with all the really tough stuff. So yeah. And then there's this when Don wanted to show me what he had bought on sale. And when he walked out of that, I mean, I always had my camera ready. I have 3 cameras and I had them set up in every room that we were in. So I never knew what would develop. And I was always looking for light and shadow and just interesting things. And when he came out with this kilt sort of thing, I just had to capture that. And then this, of course, was just another one of our Lucy and Ricardo sort of moments because I just literally, it was very lucky I didn't hurt myself, but I was knocked over by some waves. We were in the California at the beach, and anyway,
Well,
the
one of the things that strikes me, and I've talked with you a little bit about this before when I was writing the article, but the idea of spontaneity and the fact that when you're making these pictures, you kind of you set up the camera in such a way that there's a series of exposures. So you're never quite sure, if I remember this correctly, you're never quite
well,
sure
that's
when,
true.
yeah.
Right. You set it up, absolutely, what you're, and you absolutely know, what needs to be in focus. And that's the most difficult thing of doing this work is that
Mhm.
you've got to have a point of focus. And if somebody moves too much, then the whole picture's out of focus and then it's no good at all. So the the struggle that I had in these situations was a lot of it was just the art gods were helping me out because a lot of times I didn't know. Um,
Art gods, yeah.
the art gods. Yeah, I would just set it up. And Don, in this particular situation, was not what I anticipated at all. I wanted to run out to the beach and I wanted to have the camera catch me in the waves and stuff. And the lifeguard came out and said, "Lady, you got to get out of here because I don't know what you're doing, but you can't be on the beach with a tripod in these kind of there's an undertow here." And
Hmm.
I went right out, no, just not even thinking about it. And Don is going, "Aimee, get look at you. Look at what happened." And I'm like, I get home
No,
and I go,
it looks
"Wow,
like a terrible accident.
yeah,
Looks like a
that looks like a
terrible
terrible
accident took
accident."
place.
And it was, I did fall over and my hat fell off my head. But I mean, other than that, it was fine.
All right.
And so then I don't know, you ask the questions because
Yeah,
I'm
this is one of those COVID pictures when you kind of went crazy, right? You were like,
yes.
Don, you got to dye my hair. I'm going crazy.
No, I don't. Yeah, my hair gets dyed no matter what. I don't care who does it. I mean, I just knew that I had to get it done and I couldn't go into the hairdresser.
Mhm.
I'm pretty much a free spirit kind of person. And we were in Sea Island, Georgia, and I saw the light was really good. And I said to Don, "Hey, I got this idea. Let's get on our bikes and let's ride around and let me see what I can dream up here." And about this time, Don, it was just so perfect. He put his bike down and he said, "Now I'm going to put my foot down. You are not going to ride around the neighborhood in your halter. My God, what are you thinking?" And I'm like, I am going to do this. And it just, look, you could see in Don's face, he is thoroughly frustrated with me.
This is not acting.
No, this is not acting. We were not
Well,
acting. He was like, you're not going to do this. And I'm like, I am going to do this.
I think you said something at one point about control. And
Control.
yeah,
Yes. He likes to be in control. And that
what about you though?
I present a problem. So that's the that's part of the problem.
Well,
So,
you have a knack for control also. I mean, because
well,
if we think about you as a filmmaker, you are everything. I mean, you are
well,
everything
in this
from
case, I did have a lot to worry about, and and you know, things, just everything changed because the light, which Don would say, oh, Aimee, like, I don't know if I've shown you yet I think I did. Well, so just something as
yeah,
simple as
yeah,
this. No, this one. So, I mean, in the middle of, I'm doing this, I'm so earnest about this work, I've got everything set up, and he takes a phone call. So
I
it was,
think it's perfect.
it was perfect for the shot,
Yeah. Yeah,
but one
let's jump
thing,
ahead a little. Oh, this next one, this one brings up the question that I've had so many times when I look at your work and when I think about people look at this picture, right, and say, "Oh, Aimee, you're so brave." This is one of those where people say that, right?
right.
You know,
Well, they
and
say that, or they ask me how do I
mhm,
shot the picture? But in truth, this was actual a turning point a little bit in our relationship, because both Don and I come from very um, complicated childhoods. Not, well, I would say yes, the answer is. And it was very tough to be vulnerable in our households. And so I think that each of us struggle with intimacy. And that's just something that I know about us. And you know, it was funny because we don't have these moments as much as I think we should. And when I set the camera up and we did this whole shoot, I remember thinking it was such a moment of time when I thought, my God, this is what it feels like to
mhm.
be this close to my husband and this intimate. And we don't do this enough. And I realized that we did not have that was an area that I really wanted to concentrate on in our relationship, because I realized I'm missing this.
Mm,
Protecting myself against something that I don't need to protect myself against. And in
mhm.
fact, you know, it's something that I've missed. So it was a very tender moment.
Did you have the feeling that the camera disappeared in that moment?
I totally did. Don did not have that feeling. I
Mhm,
did. Don
mhm,
had the camera hanging over his head with,
mhm.
um, with a, you know, with the weights and everything to keep the C-stand from falling over on him. So he was not thinking quite as romantic thoughts like I was.
But
So,
it was a special moment for you.
yeah, so it's been a really, it was a moment, let's call it that.
Yeah.
Then um, again, this was on a trip, and I saw a hot tub out there, and I thought, oh, wow, this is such beautiful landscape.
Was this one in Iceland?
Well, actually, you know what? It was in Iceland, and we were on a backroads trip, and we were Don hated the backroads trip because I didn't tell him how much hiking was involved. And we got on the trip and he was just like, oh my God, we move every night. We hike 7 or 8 miles a day. This is miserable for me. And he said, today we're playing hooky. We're going to sit outside. And I took this, I said, well, we're not completely going to play hooky. We're going to do this shot, and it came out. So that's how things developed. And little things, you know, little things I don't like about the picture, but it's the way it is. I have like a rheumatoid hands, like my hands have like turned the other direction.
Mm.
And I really don't like that. But I thought, you know what? There's something telling about that's my age, who we are as, at this age. And I said, I'm going to include these things.
What the hell? Yeah.
And, here we,
This is a picture I love because it sets up so many things. It sets up this whole idea in particular about film noir and the fact that there's this sort of femme fatale figure and this shadowy, male figure in the background, and it uses this beautiful house setting, with elegant curved stairways and
yeah,
reflective surfaces, and the
yeah,
and the lure, the central lure of the picture is that martini, which just looks like the most delicious thing.
I wish I had it right now. I'll be honest. So I didn't think it was appropriate to drink while I had this thing, so I didn't do it. Um, but the other thing, and then, I thought, again, I had this idea, how many times in our marriage have one of us threatened to leave?
Mm,
And I thought, I have to create this, but I don't want to make it that I'm leaving. I want it to be that maybe I'm just going on a trip. Maybe I'm going to a workshop. Maybe I'm going to visit the kids, maybe anything. But I didn't want to leave it. So I didn't want it. I wanted to create the illusion that there might be some trouble there. And so I wet the driveway really wet so that there would be that, and I stuffed the suitcases. And then I took this picture, and it took me, and by the way, one thing I will say, which it took me many times to get these shots. It was not, oh, I'll just go do this shot and I'll get this shot. It did not work that way. Three times was pretty much it took me 3 sessions to get a really good photograph, because so many variables in the images, whether it's the lighting or the focus or the gesture or the emotional quality, or it so many things could go wrong that it took
mhm,
me a long time to get one photograph.
mhm.
um this
This one just, I, I found the humor in this earlier today. I for some reason hadn't seen it before, but just
Oh,
the
I was so earnest about Don sitting in that damn chair, and he was supposed to be sipping on a martini, and I was going to be doing the gardening. And as soon as the camera starts going, he gets up to weed the garden. And I'm like, what the hell? And it was, what do they call it? It was serendipitous that he got his ass watered, because, and I'm so happy
exactly.
because he wouldn't do what I said to do.
Hmm. Hmm.
And then this one is just genuinely, again, the luck of the gods. I mean, we were in this place called the Blue Lagoon, and there was a, a literally a earthquake happening while I'm in the tub, and I had put my camera out on the ledge because I had an idea this might be a good shot. And all of a sudden, everything starts moving back and forth, and the next thing I know, I'm like jumping out. What you see there is me jumping out of the tub to go get the camera. Well, but he caught that shot, and so again, what I had planned was one thing and what I got was something else. And that's just so much of photography, I think, is what you plan to get and what you ultimately get.
Right. You have to be open to circumstance and chance.
Yes. And I think the element of chance was a big thing with us. And
Hmm.
this, of course, I wanted this so bad. And every time I had us, I must have gone out to this graveyard so many times. And finally, I finally found a way to shoot this that it wasn't um, so cliche, that I just wanted to avoid the cliche, but I wanted to say that we're thinking about these things. These things
Hmm.
are on our mind, but I
Yeah.
didn't want to be
So heavy-handed.
Yeah, so heavy-handed. And so I got this shot, and then um this, a friend of mine, this is not my car. This is my husband. This it's not even my neighborhood, because my friend who has this car said, I said, can I use this card? I have this idea for this image. And he said, yes, but I'm going to park it in the front of our yard, our front driveway. I'll pull it in there, and you can do whatever you got to do to get that shot, but you ain't driving it out of the driveway. And I said, okay. So we got this shot, and I thought it was really one of the last shots I got, and I had mixed feelings about it. But anyway, I it was
Is this,
fun. It was so fun. It made me
is
think
this
about
another
going.
one the museum acquired?
No,
No.
no. This one was the one. This one was the one that the museum acquired.
Okay. Okay.
So then
Well, there's so much here, Aimee.
this was the best.
Oh,
This was this was the literally, I just thought, when I got that picture, I thought, oh, damn it.
that's the
So,
cover.
so best ever. So that's it.
How did, why don't we take it off of share?
Okay, that's gonna be interesting. Okay. So let me go to Zoom and do like I did before, meeting, stop share. Okay. Okay. So
How did that decision to make that the cover come about? Tell me, well, let's back up just a little bit. You can tell me a little bit more about the process of the portfolio becoming a book.
well, that's kind of interesting. So that was just I was just, again, that was just lucky. And I met at Photo Fest, I met with several people, and a woman named Alexa Becker had said that she was very interested in my work. She'd get in touch with me. And so I honestly, I didn't know what that meant, but I wrote to her, she wrote back to me. And then several months down the road, several months down the road, um, she made the pitch. And then once she made the pitch, then several months more went by before I got a contract. So I tell my friends that are doing books, I mean, oh man, it is hurry up and wait. I mean, wait.
And Alexa, you might mention, is connected to a publisher.
Yes, it was Kehrer Verlag. And she's not really connected to a publisher anymore. She actually acts as a consultant, but I
Mhm,
know that she started out at Kehrer Verlag. She loves Klaus, and she has a very strong relationship with them.
mhm.
And
And tell me a little bit about how the agreement worked out with Kehrer,
uh,
how they came to end up publishing and financing the book.
well, I mean, they did not finance the book. So they agreed to publish the book. That's their part of the deal. And provide the designer, the editor, the paper, the everything. But
Mhm,
ultimately, I mean, I have to be clear that the financial responsibility was on me. And my job was to basically, I was given a budget um, that based on what the kind of paper I wanted, and this and that and the other, but there's always it's a turn, you know, it's a cost plus contract with most publishers, unless you happen to be Saw Leader or somebody, or you name it, somebody very, very famous. Um,
mhm.
then you have the publisher come to you and they pay for everything and they fly you here and there. That was not my situation. My situation was, we're going to publish this book because we think it's going to do well, but you're going to pay for it. And
How many photographers on the call have had a publisher pay for your book? Show of hands. Nobody.
Nobody. But, it's always a nice thing. You think, oh, hopefully, maybe the next time I do something, maybe I'll have a better sharing arrangement, but doubtful. But,
Mhm.
but it was, you know, it was such a, I have a friend right now who's in the process, and I am so excited for her because I can remember how much I enjoyed the process of working with the editor and just having him enjoy the process as much as I did.
Mm.
And
Who was your editor?
his name was Martin Lutz, Lutz. He was with Kehrer. I was very lucky to have gotten
Mhm.
him. He understood the work. He loved it. He moved things around. He would say, nope, that doesn't work. This works, that doesn't work. But he was the designer, actually. He was a
Mhm.
designer.
Mhm.
And then there are so many people involved, honestly, that you have the project person, you have the designer, you have I'm trying to think of all the people,
Mm.
the person that picks the paper for you. So it was a learning process, but it was so much joy and so much
Right.
fun to go over there and be on press and
Well,
all
well,
of that.
your thank yous in the back of the book are two full pages of text.
I
So
know they
there's a
told
lot
me
of
that.
people to thank in the
I know
process.
they said no more. That's it. It's off. You cannot, I mean,
That's enough.
I think I included my daughter's dog.
Um,
So, I mean, I literally was, yeah, but it was wonderful. I encourage everybody to do a book because I'll tell you the truth. Uh, it is such a wonderful thing to have that I have in my possession and that my kids will have and my grandkids will have. And, you know, I just think it's something really special. So I'm very happy I did it.
well, I think we have a lot of people on the call who are nodding and smiling and maybe feeling as though there's some similarity or empathy, sympathies going on. And I would love to encourage people to unmute themselves or put a question in the chat, just to join in the conversation. So anyone who's smiling and thinking about these photographs,
Well,
please
I,
feel
all
free to
right,
join in.
I have a question because I'm in the process of doing a book. But that's just what not the what the question is about. So Aimee, how did you set up because the way you set up your tripod and your camera, I mean that's something I've never done because I work a different way, but I'm really interested in how you did it.
How did I do it?
Yeah.
Well, you put your camera on the tripod and then you use a timer that's within, my camera had it within the software. In other words, part of the menu in the camera provides that you can do what's called it's called an interval shooting function. And
Right.
so you just say how many frames that you want to shoot at a given point in time and how many seconds between a frame. And then you basically have already set your scene up. You've got your gaff tape everywhere that you want to be. You know where you're going to stand.
Uh,
You know everything. And then as soon as you have in your mind, I think this is going to work, then I would start the timer and then go into my place. I'd hit my mark and I would stay there and I would know how much I could move within the shot before I would lose focus. And that's kind of how I did it.
and was this with a digital camera or were you working
It's
with
a
film?
digital camera, yes.
Uh-huh.
Yes. I'm sure it can be done on a non-digital camera, but I just didn't know. I didn't have a film camera. I had a digital camera.
Right.
I think I remember Amy you saying that this was sort of your workout program too, that there was a lot
Oh
of
gosh.
physical labor involved.
Well, no, I honestly, Yes, because I was moving, I used a lot of, a lot of artificial light because, you know, there are areas of the house that I want to shoot that don't get enough light. So I had to move these big, huge lights around. So, I mean, there was a lot of moving around. You know, everybody that's a photographer knows that it's, what is it, 20% photography and 80% moving, furniture moving. So, I mean, it's true. So everybody knows that. That's
So
what it is.
did you just set lights up with tripods or, because I
You
went,
just put the, I just would situate the lights where I wanted
uh-huh,
it to shed additional light. And the tripod is there, you know, shooting regardless. And the lights, I can talk to you about that, Susan.
oh, yeah, okay.
Anytime you want to know about how to do that, I can actually send you a little sketch about how I did that. But I had storyboards up so that I knew what I was doing, so that
Uh-huh,
You
yeah.
were in control. Let's put it that way.
Well, you try to be, you're not
Mhm.
always, you know, things happen. So anyway, I admit, I honestly, I was telling George, for those of you on the call, it's sort of interesting. It was such a magical project looking back on it. And I have, I'm not saying I won't go back to it at some point in my work, but it you you know, you don't go, I've tried to shoot a couple, do some scenes, and I've come up with some stuff, but honestly, once a project is done and once you've done it, the magic is sort of gone, you know. You have that creative moment while you're doing it, and it's, you know, you feel all the joy of doing it, but once it's over, it's time to move on. And I'm just, you know, that's kind of, but I will never, ever probably have I don't know that's, I shouldn't say that,
Every
but the
every now
joy,
and then, you get a little inkling of wanting to do something, don't you?
yes, yes, I always, I'm
But no,
always,
it'll be like, Don, you're doing something that I love.
I don't, he polishes silver all the time, and I think, oh, I gotta find a way to do that. What man polishes silver? But I'm saying that the pandemic and all of that was so uh such a part of just having this sort of dome of just creativity. So
Mhm.
I oftentimes think that I would like to go back to that time, but I know not many
No,
people feel that. So
I like how you referred to Don as not just a collaborator, but a hostage.
yeah, well, he was really. I mean, he did though participate. He did. And I oftentimes think I didn't know how much Don loved me until after this project. I realized what man would do this for their wife. I mean, who would do that except a person that really cared for the other person? So I just, for that reason too, I think it was really nice that
Well,
I felt.
now is the moment for him to walk through the room in his
Yeah,
underwear.
I don't know, really. He will have forgotten that I'm on Zoom and he will come through in his underwear. So anyway, I just want to say thank you to everybody that showed up. Oh my God, I really am so thankful. I thought nobody would show up. I was so afraid.
Do we have some more questions, maybe? Feel free to unmute yourself and chime right in.
Oh, Heather and Mindy, my sisters are on. That's so nice.
Aimee,
Joanne?
I loved listening to your stories. They are so hysterical. And I love the serendipitousness of how some of the images came to be. And that's so true. You start with one thing and then actually you end up getting something better than you were even thinking. So yeah, beautiful, really stunning work, really.
Joanne, you have a book project in process, don't you? Or do
I
you
do.
always?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, I'm so
I
excited.
finally found a publisher.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
How was
I'm
that
so
process for you?
I'm just at the beginning. I should be way farther along, but this isn't about me. This is about Aimee. So
No, it's over with. I'm done now. I'm just really happy for,
but thanks for
um,
asking, George.
Yeah,
I'm so excited. I was already talking to George about you earlier. So, so anyway, well, I don't know what else to say. I'm working on something else. It's a little different. I hope the gods shine upon me again and, you know, this involves my family more, so a different part of my family. So I'm sort of looking forward to it.
I love the fact too, Amy, that you've been able to work not just in the set that is your home, but in places like Milliken, Texas, where the cow picture was made,
Oh, yeah.
and one of my favorite pictures of yours is taken in Grand Central Station, where you're obviously taken right, in the midst of something going on. It's like you must have had the idea and then just acted on it right away.
Oh, definitely acted very fast. Because in case you want to take a photograph in Grand Central Station, think about it twice. Because I had the Grand Central Station police coming after me, and I'm going, the light had come in. If you've ever been in Grand Central Station, you know the light comes in. It's spectacular. And so I had in my mind, oh God, when I got to get a photograph here. I got in there and I didn't even know what I was going to do. And Don said, "What are we doing here? What do you want me to do?" And I said, "Grab that damn map. Just grab that map and look like you're looking at the map, and I'll drop my purse on the floor and I'll look like I dropped my purse." And here comes this woman. She goes, "I'm sorry, but you cannot." And I'm like, keep going, just keep going, keep doing this. Just keep doing this. Don't listen to her." And he's like going, "We're gonna be in jail." Don was always going worried.
Didn't you take one in Iceland too?
I took two in Iceland. Yes,
Yeah.
I did. That was when I was on a backroads trip with my sister Heather, and she can speak to how much my husband loved that trip. So, but we had a great
George
time.
and Amy, if I can interject for a minute, this is Ann Massoni. For those of you guys who I don't know, I'm the executive director and curator at the Houston Center for Photography, and I had the extraordinary pleasure of exhibiting Aimee's work. And I just want to share with all of you, because Aimee knows this, but it was hands down one of the most well-received exhibitions, and to date, our best-selling book that we have had since opening our little bookstore at HCP. And I want to just share that with you all, because I think we presume that people of a particular age are not suited to be behind or in front of the camera, and that as a subject matter, they won't be of interest to anybody but those of us with gray hairs. And I just want to share how extraordinary that the extraordinary response that exhibition had, including a very sweet group of children that came through and who were very perplexed why anybody would be photographed in their swimsuit, but they were really happy that the photo was there anyway. So just congratulations, Aimee.
They said, didn't they say those are old people?
Those are old people. Exactly. Those are old people.
They
But
said,
even they,
my
saw
God.
and appreciated what was otherwise something they never had seen before. Maybe they hadn't considered that their parents and their grandparents were people too.
So
And
yeah,
I'm wondering, Anne, if you are on camera just to prove whether you have gray hair or not.
I do have gray hair. I'm not on camera because, as Aimee knows,
she's worked hard all day.
We've worked really hard all day. We have an auction coming up. Aimee's on our art committee for that, and we've been working really hard. And so I'm sitting in the dark with a headache, but I wouldn't have missed this for the world.
I appreciate it. Thank you for being here.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Aimee, you may have said this, but how many books did you sell?
Honest to God, I don't know.
How many did you
just-
print?
Oh, how many did I sell at HCP? I don't know. They would.
I would have to get into the back system, and I'm not doing that tonight.
Yeah. No, but we did have a lot of people come
What
by
was
books.
the print run, Amy?
The print run was 1,300 books.
It was
So,
pretty big.
So yeah,
And you're
And-
running low, right?
huh?
You're
No,
running.
I'm not running low. I still
Okay.
have about 100 books left.
Oh, wow,
So,
but that's
that's good.
amazing.
That's really good.
Yeah, so I have about 100 books left, and I'm hopeful that they'll also.
I'll be gone for
Yes.
Valentine's Day.
Yeah, it's a great thing for Valentine's Day. I'm gonna make a little video maybe, and hopefully, yeah, it'll be a good thing for Valentine's Day. My sister-in-law and my sisters are on the call, and they have been really big supporters of my books too. I mean, I just sold, I don't even
Thank you for
know.
not including us in the book. Thank you very much for that.
Oh, Mindy, you're such a
Mindy, what do you mean? God.
you know,
Mindy, I harass my sister at least once a week about taking her portrait, and she's like, oh my God, you have to find another project. I can't do this.
I'm gonna get volunteers from the audience to be in Aimee, to do the next portrait for Aimee.
I think we all should do a round of applause for Don McCrory.
Yeah,
Yes.
really.
oh
For
yes.
sure.
Yay,
Yes.
Don.
Yay, Don. Yay, Don.
What a sport.
Yes. What a sport. Well, thank
Sport.
you so much. I really appreciate it. If anybody has any other questions, otherwise I won't keep you.
Great, great segment. Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you.
George, for narrating and asking all the great questions.
Oh, appreciate everyone coming.
Do you have
It's a
anything else to
pleasure.
tell them about your next photo banter?
Yep. The next banter is on Wednesday, the 12th of February. The guest is Diana Matar, who has done a series of photographs about sites, locations around the country where people have died at the hands of police. And it's a deeply researched and extensive study that was done. The photographs were done almost 10 years ago, and it's taken this long to clear the permissions and to stage it properly. So it's a very deeply considered body of work involving black and white photographs and all basically without people in them. So it has some familiarity in terms of like a Joel Sternfeld project, but the implications I think are much more moving, deeply moving. So anyway, that's on the 12th of February.
Okay.
Be there.
All right.
And anyone who is interested in contributing to the continuance of the photo banter experience, I have a Venmo account that is George-Slade-2 on the Venmo site. I can put that in the chat if that's of interest. Even if it's not of interest, I'm going to put it in the chat just in case.
And do you have a website or?
You can find me at, I'll put that in here too.
Thank you.
Oh, and you know what I forgot? I just realized Mary Bisbee Beek is on the call.
She was here and then had to run.
Oh, so I didn't just, I've been focused on you, George. So Mary was my publicist, and she, I thank so very much. She put up with me for, I don't even know how long, but we covered a lot of territory together because it's not easy to publicize a sort of emerging photographer. So I give her quite a bit of credit for having done that, because
Mary's helped support a lot of photographers in her
Yes.
time.
yes,
And I know Mary originally from the Twin Cities, Minneapolis and St. Paul. And have always enjoyed her connections to the photography world. And now she's in Portland, I believe, Portland, Oregon. Very involved with Photo Lucida and other organizations there.
So
I think I'm remembering that correctly, Mary, aren't I? All right. Well, anyone else with questions or comments for Aimee? If not, I will let you all go onto that. Oh, sorry, Joanne, do you have another question?
Oh, no, I was just waving
he's
goodbye.
waving goodbye.
Nice to see everyone tonight. And
Thank you
we
so
look
much.
forward to seeing you in a
Thank
couple of
you.
weeks.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
All
This is
right. Good
great.
night, everyone.
Thank you, thank you,
Night.
Thanks, Aimee.
thank you.
Thank you, Aimee.
Bye.